You are listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene on Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia. Wole and Mo are your hosts. Ray Jeezy, as you can tell, is out. This is a special day because, as you can see, this individual needs no introduction. He's a Super Bowl champ for the Washington football team, radio personality, and sideline reporter for the team. Also, the man who brought us the ProView, who had nothing but dope, and when I mean dope, ballers on his show. I am blessed to introduce to you all Rick Doc Walker to All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the urban sports scene. What's up, Doc?
Hey, man, good to be wrapped up in Burgundy and Gold, man. And thanks for the shout out for ProView. We still going, man, with one more year to get to 20 years of doing ProView and hundreds of interviews with guys that have gone through the journey. And the key is to getting their side of the story, because their story is always different and it's always a longer route. You see the end, the finished product, but I can say the consensus is that nobody got to the point by themselves. They were always inspired by someone in high school, junior high, the Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, some youth coach. And that's why I keep slamming my mallet on the table that we have got to stop disrespecting youth coaches. We have the most prominent influence on our generation of young people. They inspire you to be coachable and to learn some of the principles. Not everybody has two head of household families. A lot of us are raised by one parent and relatives, and they work a lot. A lot of parents work like mine, 2 jobs. So the impact that that coach, whether it's for me, Jim McCulley, and the guys who picked me up, the guys, Jim Womack, those guys, Mr. Cole, I'm forever grateful, because we didn't have a car. So I wouldn't have gotten anywhere without some assistance. And all these gentlemen were white. Only one was black of the group. And so what we're going through right now in this country does not really tell the whole story. Not everybody is bad. It doesn't look like me or you.
Right.
And the police are not to be used as an example of the overall population. That's a sector that's been contaminated with hate. And that's up to the people that run this country to do their damn jobs. We all over the world solving things. We can't solve the stuff in our own backyard. So I'm saying, get your stuff together, make it right so these kids don't have to worry about getting killed on the way home. How about wounded once or twice? So, that's where I'm at. And so the sports deal is an outlet that a lot of us have been able to travel through it to develop ourselves and to do something. And then after you're done, you got to give back to the game and keep giving back to the game and hope that the next generation is smarter, that they're better at it. And of course, they make a hell of a lot more money.
That's the goal, right? That's definitely the goal. And you're talking to 2 individuals who are like youth coaches. Like, I coach basketball.
Oh, good.
For like almost 10 plus years, and Mo's a football coach.
So I love that. I got 7 years in Northern Virginia. And it's really the most fun I've ever had doing anything. Again, but it's not only does it not as a nonprofit, it costs you money to coach, because you got to feed a couple of them kids every night.
Of course.
When you drive them home, they don't eat till tomorrow at school. So all these responsibilities where you got to help them with shoes, with gloves, handgun, whatever it is. And that's why I make my focus about youth coaches and the participation in high school sports. Is the drop, man. It's where we got to pour more into it to give these kids an opportunity for those that 1% or 2% to step to the next level and then the next level. And that's really what it's all about. And I take great joy in just watching anybody that you've been able to help influence in their life and see them take the right path.
And I think that's the perspective that a lot of people became fans of your show hearing, right? I was introduced to you through one of my friend's fathers, Mr. Robinson, who listens to your show like all the time. I mean, you always listen to your perspective on things, and just being a mid-aged Black man and going through what they've gone through, and and what you all, with those your age have gone through, but having that perspective and then being a member of the team, being a champion, overcoming those kind of deals are what makes, I think your opinion so valid in this area right here, right? And we know that it spreads further than this area, but especially in this area, right? Especially wearing that burgundy and gold, man. So it's an honor to be on this call with you today.
Oh man, my honor. I love what y'all doing, man, because it's a hustle. I started at DCIAA ball doing games. Harry Davis was at Channel 4 when I was at Channel 4, and he put together a production. I'm getting people now. Everybody want to call me now, but I ain't gonna happen. And he put together the broadcast factory. So we were able to go down to we were at Dorsey. We were at the first school, I'm thinking offhand, we were downtown, and I'm looking in the stands and I see all these large individuals. And I'm going, hey man, why ain't y'all playing? They say, oh man, team sucks. And I said, well, how can they not suck? With y'all sitting over here with me. And the field was not in good shape. And I will say that Mr. Chang at the time, Chen was in charge, AD or athletic director. So being at the ground level and then being able to going over to Wilson and just seeing the difference between the schools in Northeast, Northwest, as opposed to Southeast, and Northeast, and just understanding the district and being down there when round ball was unbelievable. I'm at Tuesday nights, seeing games. Hoops was off the chart. Some of the best sporting events I've ever seen took place in the high school level in the district. And so it was important just to do whatever you could to help kids get it going. And now with the Maryland Heat, what they're doing, that 6th to 8th grade youth football, they're one of the best organizations. Coach Bird's doing a fantastic job. We're nationally ranked. We're top 3 every year. Either they win it or they lose it, but they're always in it. So that's really important to me. The pros take care of themselves, but we got to support the youth, the grassroots levels, where Mike Anderson started grassroots youth football a decade ago. And I was with him, and we went, just seeing all that happen and see how it's grown to this point, nothing but a blessing.
Awesome. Can you also tell our listeners about your podcast, the podcast you have going on? Right
Patreon.
Now?
And it's www.patreon.com. And it's patreon.com/DocWalker. And it's a different format. It's different it's like I call rap, freestyle, R&B, jazz. There's all kind of different ways to create music. Same way in our industry too. Some is a talk format based with guy Lou from Landover's calling in, which I've done for 27 years. This is more of an editorial type deal where people tell you what's on their mind, you react to it. And I like the responsibility of being able to direct the narrative and deal with 2 or 3 things that have significance. And it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday format. And then get the response and just keep building on that based on, what goes on, whether it's the Lakers being upset or the Knicks winning a game 1 or the Caps running out of steam or the Wizards now actually showing that they understand the fundamentals of basketball. It's not just offense. You got to stop people in order to win. So they've had a nice month as it concludes. And the Curly W's, I'm a baseball guy, won. And so, they're not in first, but they're not in. And even if they are trailing, they're trailing by a small margin. They're within striking distance. And so I'm looking at all these things going, I just want one of our teams to be in championship contention every stinking year. So we celebrating something, because we got to a point we wasn't celebrating nothing around here. And it kind of like, hey, let's get back. So the Caps, Wizards, Mystics, the Nationals rather, that was cool.
Yeah.
I remember being down on the mall and just enjoying what others have been able to enjoy. So if we're not in the hunt, I'm not interested. We got to win. This participation stuff, we got all these people making 10 million plus on last place teams. That's got to end. And I think Coach Rivera and his group, they're moving this train in the right direction.
Definitely. I totally agree. Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Just search All Burgundy and Gold, everything with the Urban Sports Scene. Also tweet us at Urban Sports Scene and hit us up on our Urban Sports Scene Facebook page. All right, it's time for the pregame. This is what we actually have on tap. We'll talk about OTAs. You know, a lot of people have a lot to talk about OTAs. We'll talk about that. The Washington football team releasing Morgan Moses and Jerron Christian. And we'll debate if the Washington football team should think about or even pursue wide receiver Julio Jones.
With that said, let's jump into it, man. OTAs are happening right now, right? There was this report that Sadiq Charles is at left tackle because Charles Leno is not participating. Do you think this is a big deal?
No, it's not a big deal. I'm paying one guy 7.5. Ryan Kerrigan's over 10 million. Christian's a third-round pick. If you're going to come out the eggshell, at some point you got to come out the shell. Show us who you are. And so they drafted. They got Leno over. That's 2 years in a row we've robbed the Bears of offensive linemen. And so, and I think Masco, the coach, the key is the coach. Like Bugle was the key for us. And Mascot, what he's doing now, he showed me last year that he can coach. That we were scared to death, worried about this and that. Hey, them boys played their butts off up front. And so I'm looking at him, and now they got to mold this in their likeness from what they did in Carolina that took them to 15-1. I know what they're thinking. And it just becomes price points. I love Morgan. I love the Boilermaker. The guys gave it up. But if I'm evaluating them, not as individuals, but my teams didn't win. So I got to get a combination that these guys can actually win like they did last season. They won. They won the East. They got in the playoffs, and then it showed me how far we're away from being where we want to be. The Bucs ran over 500 yards of offense against us. And our strength is defense? Hello? Then it's time to go back to work. Ain't no patting them people on the back. Hey, we won. We were gutted in a game of significance. And you ever been talking about, how close? You wasn't close to nothing. White, the best linebacker in the world, didn't play against us for them. Okay, so all I'm saying is that proud of where we got to, but let's stop being unrealistic about things. We always over-celebrate here.
That's true.
Okay, let's get out of the past. You did all right. You got in there, and then you had no chance to win the game. Because if the opponent got over 500 yards against your defense, then it's time to go back to work. And that's not all on the defense. But it is what it is, okay? We don't run the ball well enough to be a true champion yet. And then hopefully Coach Turner and company, they'll get to that. But, boy, we got some prospect. I like us on paper. Unfortunately, until they sweaty and packed up in gear and going at each other, I can't tell.
So Sadiq Charles is a guy I actually like. And it's a guy that they got last year in the trade, and I thought he'd be a left tackle. Now, then you want to get your best players on the field, so you hear about being guard. So do you look at him as just totally a guard? You don't look at him as a guy that can play tackle?
Guard.
I
look at him as a guard.
Okay.
Because they look at him as a guard.
Gotcha.
And they know more about him than I do. There's a reason why they said guard. Just like with Sheriff. Sheriff came in as a tackle. Well, I got to see that one up close because I was at every practice. And so he's a guard. And he's an all-pro guard. It ain't no problem where you're at. I just need you in my top 8. All I care about is that who's the top 8. If they keep 8, or who's the top 9. Because everybody's got to assume that they're going to play in the game.
Gotcha.
So Charles played like 2 plays. Now, they're really high on him, but I'm not until I see him in the game for an entire game or 2.
Agreed.
Then he'll show me. Kid we got Cosme out of Texas. He was All-American as a freshman at right, All-American at left as a senior. Heck of a player. But he hadn't played here yet. That's at Texas. College, I say bonus them up. Give them what they deserve. I'm paying them for what they did in college. Now I want to find out what they're going to do in Burgundy and Gold. And that's what my value system comes on. I don't give a damn what they did in college. He could not even have played in college and be a hell of a pro. That's happened before. Guys get hurt. Guys get bad coaches. and then they emerge in the pros. So I just keep it real. Let's see when they get to camp in pads and against pros, then we cross our fingers. In the meantime, Lucas, a year ago, they had question marks on him. Chicago kicked him out. He found a home. Big boy came in there and started rumbling. So that's another asset they have. Roulier, the center, got new money, 6th-round pick. You don't have to be the Outland Trophy winner. That's the guy, and God bless those. He peaked in college. I need guys peaking in the pros. So that's all I'm saying.
True.
So I like what we got. We got good numbers, and it's about the camp because I've got to pay John Allen eventually. I mean, Ioannidis is back, and to me, he overall is the best one of the group.
Yeah.
See, they don't like to say that because they like the propaganda of, oh, he's a late round pick and the other guys are first. It doesn't matter. He could have been a free agent. The bottom line is that he's the best of the group. See, so glad we get him back. And then Chase is Chase, and Sweat is the unknown. The Predator, this dude, ain't no telling how good this dude could be because you ain't seen nobody like this. Long, running faux, leaping, freakish. So with Jack Del Rio being able to help develop these guys, I trust the Trojan. And to get this thing done is how many freaks can we put on the field? Looks like we got the kid out of Kentucky. Looks like a freak, walks like a freak. We'll see. But my hands are crossed because he can run. And the inside linebacker now, that's a position of need for us. You can't have those Brahma Bulls up front and not get and be better against the run. They're taking up 2 guys. They're doing their job. We're not scraping and filling with authority. We got to get some people up there and I know it's not fair to say London Fletcher, but that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a London Fletcher type. No talk, action, and hopefully we'll get one.
All right, that's a lot right there, right? So, in a sense that we were talking about OTAs, do we think that OTAs are important at this stage of the year?
Very important. No. Here's what OTAs are about. I put you in a room with your new teammates. You're in the tackle, offensive guard, line center room. They start throwing everything on that blackboard. I need to find out what your mental retention is. Right now, you're showing me how I can coach you. You guys all coach. We can't put more on a kid than the kid can handle mentally.
So true.
No matter how physical he is, how fast he is, if he break the huddle with uncertainty, that's a bad job on my part.
Yeah.
So I got to find out his intellectual capabilities. That allows me to expand my offense or contract it. A lot of times things aren't done because the guy, he can't pick it up. They never tell you that from the public. I play with guys. They break the huddle and go, dog, what is it? They just don't get it. So that's why I put you in a meeting room for 2 or 3 hours. Can you retain? I take you on the field and I hammer you with overload. They overload it in minicamp just to figure out what you can take. Then I put you out there against another guy who now is better or as good as anybody you played in college. The average college athlete only has 4 games where he's challenged physically. He's at the powerhouse teams. He's at the top 5. He's at Clemson, Alabama, Oklahoma, Georgia. 4 games at the max, maybe 3. Are they going up against, quote, equals? Everybody else, they're bit slapping them because they have too much power. The top 10 in college football is stacked. And so you might jump in there like a Northwestern, a Stanford, a Vandy. The academic schools can still produce really good teams, but they get 2 injuries, the season's done. They don't have the depth. Where Ohio State, they just put another 5-star in. So you got to understand the volume of that. Now, what does that produce? If you're an alum, if you're a Buckeye, man, you get to clap a lot. But if you're in the pros, you got to go, am I looking at a finished product or a guy that was put in a situation where he was very hard for him to fail? That's why I like the kid that goes to Illinois. I like the kid that's at Purdue. You balling at Purdue, that's why I love our kid at Kentucky playing linebacker. He went against LSU, Alabama, all of them. See, so I like to judge my guys that had to go against the stiffest competition. Yeah. So I don't like quarterbacks from SC, Alabama. They don't get pass rush. There's no pressure on them. Kid at Alabama, he got to act like people are coming at him in practice because in the game, he's basically untouched. There's 5 All-Americans blocking for him. 3 of them are first-round picks. The other 2 are second-round picks. That ain't what I'm looking to. I'm nothing against Alabama. You know, go Alabama. But if I'm scouting, I'm going to go take look at the kid at Mississippi State who went against him. How'd he fare? And then when he was down by 2 touchdowns, does he cut his motor off? Does he keep fighting? See, and that's where Sweat went so high because he was that kind of guy. So it just depends on your philosophy. I'm not against the guys that play on great teams. But I've seen over the years, there's too many failures of guys comes out of USC. Yeah, they got a great program. But there ain't a whole bunch of them running around being badass stars at quarterback. You know, Sanchez went up, got in a little bit, boom, he's out. So I'm saying that I'm not hating on the colleges, but I am saying that it's not what I'm looking for. I'm not running a fan club. I'm running a program that I'm trying to develop people. And like the Ravens do.
Yeah.
They build you. They rebuild you. The Ravens remind me of the Miami Heat in basketball. They don't care about what you did. Now that they have you, they're going to show you what to do and teach you how to do it. So their players get better. All of a sudden, you're going, some cat's shooting threes. He's shooting 45%. You go, who is he? Well, see, they develop people. The Ravens, in my opinion, they develop people. They got a mantra, man, that's physical. I mean, I just love the way they approach the game. And ain't no bull crap. They ain't trying to market nothing. They trying to decapitate you and do it their way. And they went after a guy that everybody passed on. And he ended up being a league MVP. And he's still developing. Yeah. But the boy is bad. You know, and they're adjusting to him. So that's just what I look at. And here in Washington, it looks like they're building a plan. They're building a plan based on not what you've done, but what you're going to do. And that's what I see. I see that being something that we can build on.
So even within OTAs, you see they can build like that Ravens identity. That's something the Ravens as an organization, I kind of like look up to be honest with you, in terms of bringing your own type of person in and bringing in that identity. Can you see that with this group? Are they bringing in that type of identity?
Well, you know, I'm sure that it's on their plan. Don't forget Coach Rivera, you know, coach with Coach Harbaugh in Philadelphia. Ron's got his own thing, and it's very similar. He was 15-1. Okay. I mean, he's done that. But I've only seen it here for a year. So I'm watching as they develop, and it may very well prove to be very similar to that. Can't do it alone. Your facility's got to be the best. You know, and they've made a lot of efforts over there to clean that up. But if you got to clean something up, it tells me you started off wrong. See, and so you got to surround yourself like they've done now with football people, not promoters, football people. And that way, I think that's where they're at. That's why I tell people all the time, hey, ain't no hate in my game. I see them doing this. I see them doing that. I think they're rising, doing the right things, and we'll see if it works. Now, you got to have health. Last year, the coach had cancer. The quarterback had a leg that could have been amputated. All these things going on, and yet they won the division. Terry McLaurin, this boy he's bad. My hero. Bad man. Don't say a word. He ain't trying to promote. He's not doing YouTube videos. He's playing football. He's training for football. Love this guy, man. And so if our quarterback position, which potentially should be as good as it's been, if not better, because you have 3 guys that have actually played in games, Montez being the 4th. So I'm looking at this now, and I'm hopeful. I've seen what everybody has done. I just want to see how the approach, because it's going to be what the offense dictates. And Fitzmagic, he's an attack dog. That's what I like about him. But he turns the ball over. You got to cut the turnovers down. We got to be smarter with the football to give our defense a chance. I'm more like George Allen. I'm like, we don't have to average 30 points a game to win.
I agree.
You know, we can get 21, but our defense gives up 6 or 7, 10 at the most, we good. And in order to do that, we got to get better on special teams. Our return team is terrible. A punt return team is non-existent. We got to bring that back in the game. You know, this is the home of Herb Mulkey, Davis, Brian Mitchell, Mike Nelms. We've had too many prolific punt returners here. Santana Mall. We got to get back to that. And then we get back to that. We got a new snapper out of Michigan. And we were very good in our punt game, our PAT game. Those are all the things we have to tighten up in order to give our defense a chance to get after people. Because if we get a lead with them werewolves we got over there, man, get our secondary going. I want to see what's going to happen with Landon Collins. He's important. It's important as to how he heals and then what role he accepts.
Yeah.
You know, and I saw, unfortunately, got hurt in what would have been his best game. They had him in the box, and the boy was brutal. He's something else in the box, but he got hurt. So we got to see how he's able to run. Is he going to cover our safeties? I mean, we got a lot of good football players. Now we got to make sure that they can play the scheme that enhances their talent and doesn't hinder it.
So what would you say what would you want to see the most, or the battle you want to see most out of OTAs in terms of positions? Like, what intrigues you the most?
OTAs, I just want them the brains to work.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't judge football until you're in full pads.
Gotcha.
I'm like Tom Brady. Tom Brady, every time you see him working on the offseason, he's in full pads. I don't know why everybody isn't. I mean, if you're a receiver, you got to lift your hands up to catch a ball that if you don't have pads on, it's a different stretch. Everything's different. So for skill guys to at least have a helmet and shoulder pads on, why not? I mean, why not? Tom's always suited up because he gets it. That's why he go.
Practice how you play.
Yeah, so practice how you play, and also it's a full contact game. So I'm not into walkthroughs and all that. We got to find out who's going to bust a grape off the line of scrimmage. What type of team we going to be? Physical first and physical second and innovative third on offense. That's my philosophy. And I want to throw it too. We got some goals guys who can go get it. But I also want to punch you in the mouth first, slow that pass rush down. I've never seen a pass rusher be the same after he's had his thighs toe up for a quarter. So people hitting him, you know, it changes how you rush. So that's what I'm about. We'll see what happens. I'm not predicting. I am optimistic that Ron Rivera's track record proves that the team's going to be physical. And if they play hard, but you got to be smart, man. We've had horror films of our secondary in the past decade. People running wide open. They arguing. No, that's over. We're competent now. Again, Jack Del Rio, nothing but credit for his ability to communicate. Jack is a great communicator. And I think once the guys bought in, we saw upward climb into that. And you change your game plan every week. So it's not like you memorize the offense. Good offenses are like Bill Belichick's. They evolve every week. I love the Patriots because what do? They do whatever they have to do to beat you. Period. It ain't that complicated. I'm playing against you, got Julio Jones. I'm doubling him. That's simple. He ain't going to beat me. See, we let people's aces beat us, and to me, that's bad planning.
It's ego. It's ego in coaching. You know what I mean? I think.
Yeah. Oh, and all of them have it, and I'm not mad at them.
Right.
But it's about put your team first before your ego.
Before your ego.
I always say put your ego in the glove box in the car before you walk in the building.
Nah.
Leave your damn cell phone and your ego in the car.
Don't even bring it in the building.
Go to work. I don't need your cell phone in the building. I need you totally focused. I wouldn't have cell phones in the building. You know, because I'm there to get something done. It's going to make you enough money that you can buy your own phone company. So if that cheating, tweeting, chatter, all you got to do is more important to you, then I'll cut you behind. You can go out there and tweet and do all you got to do all day. Because everything to me, we got to win. If you ain't about winning, I can't use you.
I feel like you're talking about a particular player.
No, I know it's players. It's just like my kids. It's an addiction. Just like the video games. Well, and I was hooked on television. I'm a former addict. Man, I was killing it on the television. Baseball, we've having tournaments. I mean, you're playing Tron, me, Joe Washington, Art Monk. We had a little side bet, $500, who could get to 1,000 first on Tron. And we up till 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, coming in at 8, hey, man, did you get, nah, man, I got killed. What time? About 4:15. As a grown-ass man, a pro. So what did I expect my kids? Of course they got. It's so addictive now. I've never played Madden. I've never touched a controller. I have to avoid that like the plague. Because if I get into that, no, I've never touched the controller.
Oh, man.
If I start, it's like, I love Netflix and the binge, like Breaking Bad. I mean, I was up to 4 or 5 every month. I was on the deck with an iPad watching that. I had to go, when they tell me that, they got to tell me to stop. If they tell me, 5 seconds, next episode, I'm going to bring it. I'm looking at, I got to keep going.
It draws you in.
Yeah, no, you got to know if you're a junkie. You got to say, no.
I know, I understand.
I got to let it go. I'm waiting. I got 4 things I'm waiting to. But Godfather Harlem, I let them stack up. It's so good. I need 3 in a row.
Right.
So I won't watch it for 2-3 weeks. And I sit back and go hard on that, man. It's like the things I like are like this thing in Alaska, man. It's life below zero. Really going back to the primitive state of people that make whatever they live in, eat whatever they kill, and they survive on this, and it's freezing, and they chose it. And just watching that, man, it helps you roll out of bed with no excuses. It just makes me, I'm looking for really an excuse-free life to where I have no excuses. Either get it done or not get it done, but it's programming yourself to be at optimum performance. How do I do that? Well, one thing is, you had to get rest. And I was nocturnal because I didn't start getting in the groove till 1 a.m. because I was watching all the West Coast sports too. See, on the East, a lot of y'all cheat. No, you do cheat because the West Coast hasn't been worthy. See, back when I grew up, when the Bruins were winning it every year, you had to stay up. The Dodgers, you had to stay up. The Niners are winning back in the day. You had to stay up. Now, you don't have to. All of a sudden, Golden State starts balling, and Steph and the crew. All of a sudden, the swing went out west because you had to watch Golden State. You had to watch Kobe. The Lake Show starting to come back. Clippers are good until it matters most. So we watching all this. And now the West Coast, then the Bruins, they put on a little spurt. So you had to watch the Bruins. All of a sudden, we got to stay up a little later. See what's going on. But only if it's quality. West Coast has to earn that. And so I look at it now. I like the balance. The Yankees are coming back. I like traditional powers. I like people with purpose. The Yankees have a no facial hair rule in 2021, and they don't give a damn who you are. John Wooden had the same thing. Bill Walton said, "Coach, I'm gonna grow my beard." He said, "Well, it was nice having you here, Bill." Next day he came up shaved. So the Yankees present an order about themselves. If they don't win it all, it's a disaster for them. They play for one thing. That's the championship. And I love that. Not everybody is built like that. But I always like the people that are putting in more and want to get more. Alabama football, Clemson football, Ohio State. It's the finals. It's that championship game or bust. They ain't trying to win the Pac-12 or the Big Ten. They're trying to win it all. Not everybody's built for that because our NCAA, it's not. Mid-majors don't have a chance. And it's not like basketball where you can get a Loyola of Chicago. They can come out there and ball, and win and make it really exciting. I think it could happen in football too, but they don't give them a chance.
And I think it's just a standard of excellence, right? Like Wole, we were talking to Wole about sustained excellence, like gradually getting better. When the fan base was losing their mind over 7-9 and winning the division, I knew it's been a long time coming since Kirk left that last time they made it to the dance. So
Philadelphia, never forget it.
Yeah, made it. And then thinking and seeing what Ron is doing, seeing what the staff is doing, I see a plan. I see a blueprint for sustained excellence. Like getting this team back to the glory days of what they used to be, consistent playoff contenders, building off of that,
right?
Drafting well, picking the right players, bringing in the right players, getting rid of anybody who's not on board, and hopefully getting back to the promised land one day, because it's been a long, since 92? It's been a long.
91, 92.
Yeah. 91, yeah. It's been a long.
You don't gotta be extra though. Don't be extra. Don't do that.
All right. So
don't do that.
So I will say, even as somebody that, you know, I follow the team closely just to talk about them, and not being a fan, I'm actually a fan of the team up north in Big Blue. But being in the area,
Who is Big Blue? Who's that?
You know, Big Blue.
I'm just Big Blue. Hey, look, I respect everybody in our division. I think it's the best division in all the sports.
Oh yeah.
The Cowboys are the most popular team in all the sports. They have not done anything of significance in 26 years. Mm-hmm. So yet, we got to watch them play Tampa. I go, you kidding me? Y'all gonna force us to watch? I mean, but that's what they have earned, because we like sizzle. Mm-hmm. We like sizzle, and Jerry, he's the best promoter in sports.
Yeah, he's gonna keep that.
And I'm not hating on him, because if Elliott, Dak, they get going, they're capable, no doubt about it. Mm-hmm. The Eagles, hey man, I was very glad they won the Super Bowl when they did, because I didn't like the fact we're the only division that's won it all. All 4 of our teams have Lombardi trophies in their trophy cases. Mm-hmm. No one else can say that. Mm. So I like we got 8 classic matchups. I like the way they pushed it to the back now. The best, so December is action-packed, win or go home. And everybody's within the division. I think it makes it great. I don't want anybody and Big Blue, hey man, Big Blue is a monster. And Big Blue, I think they'll get it together. They swept us, which kills me, but it happened.
2 years in a row.
And yeah. Nothing I can say about it. You know, Danny Dimes, we're going to see. You get your freak in the backfield back. Mm-hmm. You guys are nice. I mean, you're Ingram. I mean, I love it, because what else? How else would you want it?
Right. It builds up the division, and it builds up the level of competition.
For I'm all for it.
Indeed.
Doc, you're making him feel too good right now, Doc.
No.
I'm not giving him anything.
Doc, I feel the same way. I think football is better when the Washington football team is good.
Yeah, and look, the Giants had to sit home and watch us in the playoff game against Tampa. Okay, right. So that's they had to do that, but yet we didn't beat them. And so for me, I'm so glad. Week 2, and I really never like to move off. I'm focused on the Chargers. Mm-hmm. But believe me, I know who we play week 2. Mm-hmm. But right now, all my things on the lightning bolts. I'm so glad that we're playing them, because they're really good. Yeah. Our problem is that our fan base won't respect them.
I know.
See, we don't respect anything. We don't see the West Coast. Again, there we go. Yeah. Don't sleep on the Bolts. Mm-hmm.
That quarterback?
They was in every game, and they gave against the Chiefs, against everybody. They probably lost 3 or 4 games on the final possession.
Yep.
And this kid, he is the real deal. Mm-hmm.
All of it.
Opening day, yeah. And so I love that, because we're focused on them. In the division, it's cool, but it's a blow to the short ribs if you lose. If you play Dallas, Philly, or New York, and you lose the opener, you broke a rib. It's breaking a rib, you know, because you only get them one more time, and but when you out of the division, and now you're going against a team that's prolific, got firepower, and Ron will get him fired up because he used to coach. You know, he's got background with him. We got to develop a hatred. The problem is you don't hate them yet. You know, you hate the Eagles, the Giants, you hate them. You can't stand Dallas. That's easy. The Chargers, you better get your mad on, and you better start getting it going, because the last West Coast team came through here, the Ram, dump trucked us. Okay, dump trucked us. So you talk all that West you want. The last time we rose up the right way, the Raiders came in on a Monday night, and we
that was special.
Smoked them. And that's when I thought we were about to turn the corner, because that was a dominant performance, and we fell off the ledge.
I mean, I think it's a the excellent game. It's an excellent game for week one, right? You turn around, you have a prolific offense. You get to test your defense out immediately, right? You have a defense that's not getting the respect that they need, even though they have some key pieces. You got Big Bosa on the line over there. He should be healthy this year. They got a couple of corners, right? You get to test your offense. And Derwin comes back. Derwin comes back. I forget what draft it was what draft? I think it was Deron Payne's draft where they were like, should we get Derwin?
Safety.
Right? Yeah. So, I mean, he hasn't been healthy the last couple of years, but we know what he does when he does play, right?
He's all pro talent.
I think everybody was trying to liken him to 21, you know. Because
you can try, and he may be, but what we were blessed with for that moment.
I'm about to say that void.
I called him the boy, the tarantula. He was
all over.
I just loved watching him work. He'd run to practice from it. I mean, he was just all the guys that embrace conditioning. A man's running home several miles from practice, leaving his car at the park. He just jogged home. Gym rat, smart, physical, had it all. And so I'm just glad we got to see what we got to see.
Right.
That's all I can say about it, because
that dude was ahead of his time. That dude was ahead of his time, man, like way ahead of his time.
21, I mean, the impact he had on the sport and a generation of kids. It's like Mike. Mike's impact, you know, in hoops, you know, in the Jumpman logo. I mean, the tarantula, I'll never forget him in the Pro Bowl game when that kid at Porter went up, he lit him. I mean,
that's punter.
And even now with the new rules, I don't know, he would have adjusted.
Yeah.
But
it would have been the latter part of his career, though, right? It would have been like year 8, 9, 10, 11. So I think, you know, not that he was.
That man would have played 15 years easily.
Right.
He was free.
Because he was in phenomenal condition and he wasn't, no bad habits. He just balled out. So, but again, I'd rather be thankful for what we had than reminisce or just miss it. Well, we don't. I just love what I saw.
Like I said, man, like you got a quality team to play week one to test yourself out against offense and defense. See what this receiving core and new quarterback can do against an underrated defense that we know, if all healthy, could, you know, change the tide and catapult the team into that division game week 2. And, you know, because on the schedule after week 2, we're talking about elite quarterback after elite quarterback after elite quarterback for like 5 out of 7 weeks.
NFL.
Yeah.
NFL.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you ain't playing Vanderbilt ain't on your schedule. I mean, it's like every week. I mean, you're not, hey man, that's where I'm going. Tee it up. What are you scared of? I mean, it's every week. So let's go.
That's what I was saying.
And, you know, the schedule is misleading because whenever you win, you end up playing better competition. But it's not the same team that comes back.
Yes.
Tampa's repeat, their team's coming back. Everybody else is splintered. You change your look. Look how many people we'll end up having by opening day. At least 5 or 6 that weren't here in the last game. That's every year for teams that are developing. The champions can come back intact because nobody wants to leave. But, you know, look what New England had to go through with COVID, you know, and they had, I think, 6 starters on defense that opted out the whole year. So you talk about powerful. They just under the radar now because everybody's doubting them. Big mistake. So, but everybody, the Giants, you don't know what'll happen when you get your back. And if they do what I hope they don't do, and that is be a run-based team. I hope they go with Danny Dimes. Let's make him the next Joe Namath. I want y'all dropping back. Yeah. I want y'all to build him up. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Danny Dimes. I want y'all throwing it every other down. Yeah.
They got Galladay. They got Galladay now, right? Because they got Galladay now, so they may try to do it.
Hey man, I want y'all to throw it 100 times a game. What I don't want
is 26. I know
that boy. Ooh, he almost put up 500 yards on us one game at FedEx. I was like, man, is this dude gonna just ever stop running? I mean, he's a bad boy. I love your tight end, 87. You got a lot of good people, but it's all about your interior.
Mm-hmm.
And
Indeed.
You drafted the big guard. I think he was out of
The guard
your big guard 2 years ago. Your Martinez, I think you got your left guard
out of UTEP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you brought in some people. It didn't work with the kid from New England, but the Giants have always been. You got this O-line, O-line.
Get that
O-line back. Then you've had pressure, you've had everything, and one of my favorite players is it's the interdivisional move. Anderson's second round pick here, and he's at Alabama. I just love. He's a football fanatic. He's nasty. He went to New York, and so I'll be pulling for him. I'll be watching him. I just love the kid's demeanor. I don't hate the Giants. I don't hate the Eagles, so I can mutually enjoy what's going on with that. As long as we beat Dallas and I don't have to deal with Clarence Goldsboro Jr., Cowboy Clay, and all these Cowboy people in this town, then I'm all right. It's okay.
I'm with you on that, Doc. I'm with you. You know what I mean? As long as I don't got to deal with like Cowboy fans.
They're insufferable.
They're terrible. They're terrible.
Yeah.
I can deal with Giants fans because you know what? When I grew up watching the Washington football team, the Giants used to beat the Washington when I was younger. When I grew up watching like Lawrence Taylor and that used to be a tough matchup.
We're talking about 80s?
Not the 80s. It was like late. It was like the 90s. Not the 90s, like 90.
Well, I always say in our division, a split is honorable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, really, you shouldn't expect to beat them twice, and they shouldn't expect to beat you twice.
Yeah.
If we're going to do this thing right, we should split. And then the tiebreaker is in the championship game.
Of course.
That's how we roll.
Mm-hmm.
We played Dallas twice in NFC championship games. Winner goes Super Bowl. They've gone home both times.
See, I like that was poetic right there. See, that was
I'm
poetic.
just saying. Now the Giants can say to us. The Giants can say to us. They had us in the championship game twice, and the Giants have gone on.
Yeah.
That game when we had the posse and that they beat. I mean, we couldn't beat them. So that's respect, And I want Dallas full strength. I didn't even talk trash last year. How can I talk trash? 3 of the offensive linemen, all Pro Bowls out. Hired an idiot to run their defense. And no, I didn't take no particular. I was happy we did what we should have done. But I couldn't talk trash. I want them full strength. If we beat them full strength, that's honorable. If not, then I'm not into that.
See, Doc, you knew who was talking trash about the Cowboys? Julio Jones was talking trash not too long ago about the Cowboys. He did that, on that Fox show. Yeah. And, he talked about how the organization wasn't ready to win. But if the Washington football team decided to give that man a call, that's a bad boy. Should they pick up the phone, call Atlanta and say, you know what? What's up with Julio?
You have to inquire.
Thank you. Okay.
If you don't do your due diligence,
yes,
you should be bullwhipped.
Yes.
Because we're talking 3rd or 4th pick, which is a very valuable pick, but he's more valuable than that. Immediately, Terry McLaurin becomes unguardable.
Agreed.
Because we're going to roll coverage.
The attention.
And also, he's being blocked. He helps you in your run game. In the red zone, don't forget, I mean, we're too long. We're almost like the Lakers now. If we get in the red zone, our tight end 6'6", 6'7", you got Julio out there. You need big targets in the red zone. We got to get the fade back, the slant back in the game. Scary Terry, and our backs are all receivers. See, what we've taken from the Belichick way of winning is that running backs they're disguised as receivers. Our guys can catch it, they can run it, and that gives Coach Turner another tool in his arsenal in the red zone. Our tight ends, I like the kid we got from Boise State. We needed to upgrade there, and we did. Hopefully he stays healthy. They all stay healthy. The project, the kid we have from Europe.
Is it Reyes?
The Chilean.
Let me tell you something. Yeah, you're from Chile. Reyes in shorts is like Tony Gonzalez.
In shorts.
No, I'm not. It's not his fault.
Yeah.
He's new to the game.
New to the game, yeah.
But what I applaud our management team, Herney, Martin Mayhew, and company, go get him. Because I want a red shirt here. I'm going to throw him out there. If he ain't quite ready yet, I'm a red shirt in him. Because this dude, his athleticism, and with that size and his hands, is frightening. It's frightening. So I like the fact that we've got Joe Gibbs he had people in the pipeline. You had never heard of some of these people. He had them in the pipeline, man. And then you get them into your system. This kid's new to football. So why rush it? Give him a shot. Put him in them pads. If he's what I think he's going to be, it may be this year. But I do know at some point that could end up being the ace of the draft down the road. It's not where you start, it's where you finish.
So you're high. So you're high on Reyes. Okay.
I'm high on his potential out of pads.
Out of pads. Okay, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
There are a lot of guys, not everybody in shorts looks good. They can't catch.
Exactly. Oh, I know.
If he couldn't catch, if he couldn't run good routes, he's a good route runner. He's got hands. He separates. Oh, no. I'm like, I can't wait to see him in pads.
Wole, you got to understand that Doc comes from the era where they actually coach their practice.
No, right? I love it. No, I love it.
Coach that practice, right?
Bro, I love it. I tell folks all the time when we're talking about training camp or whatnot. Like I get when you're competing against each other, right? Yeah. And then people are like, oh, he looks so good. I'm like, that's good. But it's something different when you would compete against somebody else that
they're not trying to hurt you.
They're not exactly. It's a different beast. They're not picking up on your little cues or whatnot. They practice against you enough time to pick up on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Here, it's different. It's a different monster. So, and there's no comfortability in this situation. So I personally, in terms of competition, I like to see, regardless of in that particular point in time, in terms of one-on-one or winning, I like to see how a person performs in preseason individually, not the outcome of the game, but individually. Then I can guesstimate and say, okay, that's a baller.
Yeah, but you know what? I'll add another thing to your vocabulary. It's a potential baller.
Yes, potential baller.
Because it's still preseason. He going against another kid too.
True.
He ain't going up against the other body's starters because they don't play in the preseason. So what I value even more is the scrimmage. We used to scrimmage the Steelers and the Colts.
Carlisle.
You can't scrimmage anybody better than Pittsburgh because they hardcore. And we play the Ravens. I want to play the Ravens every preseason. I want to scrimmage the Steelers every preseason. That would be my game, my hope. If I can't get the Patriots, then give me the Steelers. Because, and I want some live bullets, and then I pull you off. Once I know you will fight, I don't need you to fight every day. I just need to know you have it in you. Because if you fight every day, it's just not practical. But I need to know that you can do it. Those 3 preseason games now, the first one was always a farce. This last one was a farce. So you got one game. That second week, going to be getting after it. And I only need to see the people I haven't seen before. The guys that played last year, I saw you in the playoff. I'm good. We're good. But I need to get my babies exposed, and I need to know who's going to fight on demand. And because Ron interviews these guys. Yeah. Ron is so intense in getting to know the people he selects. That's brilliance. Because a lot of these guys will sell you on a highlight film. You don't know if the guy's a jerk or not. So if it's me, I'm going back to everybody's high school, junior high, boys and girls club. I need to know who the rec guy was. I need to know his youth coaches. See, I need to find out about the guy's background. They put on a show when he come to an interview. He wearing something he don't wear every day. He trying to talk away. He don't talk every day. No, I need to know who you are. See, so I would be so intense on doing my due diligence to make sure I don't bring a Albert Hainsworth in my building. He didn't trick anybody. He's been a jackass since 8th grade. So that's on them. I blame them.
So hey, Doc, before we let you go, is there anything you want to add? Anything you want to plug? Shows, anything?
No, I'm just if you want to take the deep dive in the podcast, patreon.com/Doc Walker. That's one way to do it. ProView this week will be we had to because of COVID, we've had to alter some things. And so we got Cigar with a Pro, Doug Williams to be my guest. And
awesome.
I want to talk to Dougie about, his role, what he's doing, how he looks at the landscape, about college, about HBCUs. And it's really, I'm so happy that our guys now have finally figured it out. You're not getting D1 help.
I love it.
These coaches, it's a fraternity. They hire family and friends. And I would do the same thing. Okay? Because I believe if my boys could coach, they would never be given a chance. I'd have to give it to them. I'm not hating on that end, because that's not for the coach to hate. That's for the owner to set guidelines as to why I'm hiring you to win, not to build your family tree. But that's none of my business. When former ball players try to coach, in my opinion, there's an invisible wall that's put up. They're not sought after. Their people are uncomfortable having guys in the room that actually did what they're trying to get these other guys to do. The insecure ones is clear as day. The ones that are secure, like in Tampa, they go bring it on. See, his whole staff, the former ballers, he's the only guy who got minority, special teams coach, offensive line,
everything.
He's colorblind. Everybody talks about colorblind. Very few people are. But he put up. So we got to go back to HBCUs. And you also have to teach the universities fundraising. Because it doesn't matter how good you are. When we're 17 and 18, we choose pretty things. Uniforms, locker rooms, hot tubs, jacuzzis. You're young. And what does Alabama and LSU and Clemson, what do they all do? Millions into the what? The facilities. They got cafeterias there. Remember back in the old, well, you guys weren't even born. Nebraska had a weight room right by study hall. And they were the first ones to really go nuclear and figuring out that it's important to create an environment that's conducive to learning as well as training. So what better way to put study hall next to the weight room? It was genius, okay? And so a lot of things go, so what we got to do is raise money. We got to get sponsorship dollars in HBCUs.
Definitely.
So we can enhance the experience. And the guys got to realize that they are building the future. You got to take a hit right now. You may not be on national TV every week, but if you do this the right way, and these guys, it's not a publicity stunt, and I don't believe it. I think Deion is very serious. George is, these guys are serious.
They're serious.
Doug Williams coached at Grambling. Doug also coached in high school. Okay, Doug coached with the Philadelphia Eagles. He don't get his credit from the football side, so I'm going to give it to him. If these brothers will go down there and build the academic backfield to help kids that may have learning problems and tutors so that we understand. See, we were all brainwashed on the notion of being eligible. The buzzword in the 60s, be eligible. You got to have a 2.0 to play. No. You need a 3.8 to play in the big game. See, they set the bar low for us back in the day. So that's why it's important that scholastically we compete. Our facilities are constantly trying to be improved, and then we have to recruit because some of these 4 and 5 stars need to stay home.
They do.
Because if you really want to get Stacey Abrams, that was the name.
Stacey Abrams, it is.
If you want to be like what Stacey Abrams' impact is, then these parents need to do their part and keep them 5 stars and 4 stars. Let them go to the HBCUs. Watch what happens. Then the TV networks follow the talent. And all of a sudden, you're getting into these big games, bowl games. And in a decade, you have flipped the script. And all of a sudden now, Tennessee State or somebody Division I gets in and starts raising some cane. And you become the Loyolas of Chicago in hoops, but in football. You can't tell me that South Dakota, the Utah, some of the Mountain West schools, man, they get it done, but they don't get a chance to, get into the big dance. So the HBCUs, it's a gallant effort. And from the NBA standpoint, if you're going to do a one and done, then get that 1 year to an HBCU.
We talk about this all the time, Doc.
If you're going to do one and done, if you're not going to go to school anyway, then go to HBCU, get your base of education, get in the frats and just the whole culture that was established by a lot of people that went through a lot of hell to endure what they endured for us to be given a chance that we were given. That's all I'm saying. We all have to reach back and pull somebody up.
I think everybody's just afraid to be the sacrificial lamb. I think you can't, in this instant gratification type world, social media world, and I think in the era prior to this one, you didn't know who was ranked, right? You didn't know who was this and that. Now they're ranking 5th and 6th and 7th graders, right? And I don't think anybody wants to be the sacrificial lamb in the sense where like they go to this HBCU and it doesn't work out and they see themselves that if I would have went to this major university and even if I wasn't as good as what I needed to be, I'm surrounded by so much more talent, right? And that talent would uplift me. I think that's what tends to happen. That's the idea that these kids have about these big time schools, that they're going to go, and even though they're not at Alabama or so, they're going to, is other kids worthy of being here so their level of talent can mask some of my deficiencies.
You're right. You're right. But I will say this, the one and done in basketball is my best example.
Yeah.
98% of them should have stayed in school.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and that same thing will happen in this. Number one, you're not going to get a 5-star per se. If Clemson's after the 5-star, you may have a very difficult time on that this year. But what about if one of them schools runs on to 8-2? They go to a bowl and start getting something going. What if we get streaming service in so now half the country's watching this? All it is putting a spotlight on these schools and doing it the right way. And now all of a sudden, instead of you going somewhere where you might not be able to play, I'd rather have a starting role than being a backup at a top 5 school. No, I need to play to develop myself. Then once you get into the pros, now you start helping your university with contributions like the ballers do.
Yeah.
And we got to build economic power. And economic power is no joke. You got to put a product out there. We got the marching band thing down. That's number one.
Yeah.
Now let's complement that with some own. Look, I did a game in Howard. I did Howard for 2 years. And due to me, let me tell you what, Air McNair, they came down, man. I did that game. Me, Glenn Harris, Ron Harris, Gus Johnson. I'm over there, man. I'm like, I saw him in
he was a beast.
I mean, no, look, the Dallas Cowboys built their empire with Jimmy Johnson. And guess where he hung out at? HBCUs. See, Jimmy is about winning. And he went down there and got some of the best talent in the world and brought it up, and the rest is history. So that's all I'm saying is that what Eddie Robinson built when those guys were down there at Tennessee State, Florida A&M and all them, man, them guys were coaches. They had some programs. Back in the day, and just look at the African-American Museum, and what you're going to see, the Hall of Famers just opened up a section. Now, Curly Culp, all them guys, they couldn't go to the white schools. The Hall of Fame is full, all of them HBCUs. And so Mel Blount, I mean, all these guys. So Walter Payton, so there'll be more like that, but even at a greater rate because they're going to get more publicity. We're going to put more shine on them. And if we do that, and with these phones, now people can watch games on their phone, we got a chance to build the numbers up, support the sponsorship, and build this thing so that it becomes an economic power.
No, and I agree. I think that, you see it with like Darius Leonard, who plays for the Colts. I mean, he a bad boy. I feel like in football,
bad man.
I feel like in football, you can find even I Mathis out of Bethune-Cookman back in the day. Like, I feel like in football, I've always said this for a while. Like, one thing about football scouts, I feel like if you're a dog, they'll find you. One way or the other, they'll find you.
The good ones will.
The good ones find you. Like, they really do. I have like my good friend who played. He played for the Patriots, played for the Lions. He played Northwestern High School. Lee Biden went to Duquesne. Lee Biden, that's my boy. Lee's my boy. I grew up with Lee. Went to Duquesne. They found him. The Cleveland Browns found him as undrafted picks. Became a starting cornerback there. Went to Detroit and then started with the Patriots. So I feel like the league has always been the good ones, like you said, Doc, will find you regardless. They will find you. And in basketball, which I have this issue, which in basketball I have an issue with, like, why kids don't go to HBCUs. I went to HBCU. I believe Mo went to HBCU. Kind of, sort of. But yeah. But to me, it's like one and done. Like you're not staying off with one and done. Give your school that notoriety because if you're that guy, I'm just using this example. If you're LeBron James, right, and you go to Howard, right, you're still the first pick overall. Like you're still the first. If Zion Williamson went to North Carolina A&T, he's probably still
Central.
Yeah,
wherever
Central.
He's at, they'd have found him at the boys' club.
Exactly.
No, but that's our people.
Yeah. So
understanding the economic residual effect, not just for themselves. Do you want to be a leader, a Rosa Parks, a Nat Turner? Well, they were faced with situations. You think that was comfortable for them? No, but they stepped out on faith. That's what I'm saying to parents. Help your kids make these decisions. Don't fall for the glamour and the okie doke. They're going to take you out to steak and lobster. Pass on that. You know what I mean? And you can go do your ribs and collards and neck bones and potato salad. It's all right. You're going to be okay. Do it your way and build economic power. So then you'll see the whole landscape changes once we become business people and stop getting played. We get played over and over and over. And it's a time that your generation and those younger, these millennials, man, I'm proud of them because they get out there, they march, they hold, and not just, it's not a black-white deal. It's an American issue about balance. We need balance all the way across the board. And to expect a group of people to do all the work and not benefit in the residual results is asinine. No one should be asked to do that. And so it's time now, 2021, coming off the pandemic, to actually function as one, as Americans, and try to get this thing right because it's got to be from a legal standpoint. We got a lot of things got to be fixed, and hopefully we can fix it in a peaceful manner.
I totally agree. Hey, Doc, we appreciate you for being on. We loved it. Great content. You know what I mean? And educational. I believe it's educational for all. To be honest with you.
Can I check the chat box?
Go ahead, Mo. What you want to say?
Hey, check that chat box for me.
Who, Doc?
The chat box?
Yeah.
Where's it at? Is there a box? Okay.
Should be at the bottom.
Okay.
It's chat.
Okay, it's a chat. Let me check out. Let me get my eyes on. Okay. Can I have Vic Robinson for being a long-term fan and listener at the. Oh yeah, hey Vic Robinson, where are you, man? Vic will be checking this out. He's on the road.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, number love for you, man. Number love for you.
Okay, see, you got your cameo. You got him, Mo.
Thank you.
You got it.
You gonna love that, man. You gonna love that.
All right, cool.
All right.
Hey, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify. Stitcher,
yes, indeed.
iTunes.
Check y'all out, man. Hey, man, anytime y'all do an early bird special for the elderly, I'm in.
Hey, okay. Hey, we appreciate everybody for listening. You've been listening to All Burgundy and Gold Everything with the Urban Sports Scene on Fox Sports Radio 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. You dig? Deuces. A mega. Lead us out, big homie.
L to the W.
Peace.